What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a bit of a different styled video for you. So it's about that time of year where EA Sports starts to reveal a bunch of their new NHL related content, and this year we're going to be getting the announcement for NHL 25. Now there's been a couple of leaks about who the cover athlete might potentially be, but without all of the speculation, today I wanted to talk about 7 guys who I think deserve to be on the cover of the next upcoming NHL game. Now, a couple of rules for this video. Number 1, I'm not going to be talking about athletes who have already been on the cover. So that means players like Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, and Austin Matthews will not be included on my list. I also won't be including players who have had their team recently on the cover. So for example, today I'm not going to be selecting Nathan MacKinnon because Cale Makar was on NHL 24. Just a few rules. I don't want anybody getting upset or saying that I left out a superstar that might deserve the title. I just feel like EA isn't going to do the same thing every single year by putting on the same team showing favoritism or the same player. So if you guys have been enjoying the content lately and you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you like the video and hit that subscribe button now. It'll let you know whenever I post fun new content like this, and let's get right into this one. First up, we have Conor Bard. This one to me is just a layup. Conor Bedard's marketability is just out of this world, and if you had asked me last year who I thought was going to be the cover of NHL 24, he easily would have been my top pick. Now this year I think it's a little bit more suitable for him to be the cover because he's actually played in an NHL season versus last year. Like I said, his marketability is through the roof. He put up some fantastic numbers last year despite being injured for a bit of the season, and I just think that he's an overwhelming fan favorite right now. So if you wanted to put a young superstar on the rise on the cover, this year would make the most sense, and I think Conor Bard would be the perfect pick. Next up, we're heading over to Boston to talk about my second pick, and that's David Pastrnak. Easily one of the most marketable players in the league. Like I was talking about with Bedard, his play on the ice speaks for itself, but what Pastrnak brings to the table off the ice is what really puts him ahead of other players in the league. He's hilarious in interviews. Fans are always interested in watching content that surrounds him, and with Boston being such a big time market, I think that he's a very easy pick to be the cover athlete for this year. Now with Elias Lindholm joining the Bruins, I'm expecting him to have an even bigger jump in his points this year and goals scored. So for EA, if they're trying to put on a likable face that's easy to market around, I think David Pastrnak would be a perfect choice. Up next, let's talk about New York and specifically the Rangers. I'm taking Artemi Panarin as my next pick for the cover athlete of this game. To me, the Breadman is still one of the best playmakers in the game. He just had his best season, and with the Rangers, like Boston, being a very marketable place, I feel like a lot of fans would be excited to see the Breadman on the cover. Now for Panarin, I'm not too sure if he has the same marketability as Pastrnak and Bedard, but I still feel like he would be a great cover athlete, and for a lot of fans, it would be exciting to see a New York Ranger finally getting some credit on one of these games. I think he should definitely be up for consideration. Like I said, he had an amazing season last year, and with the Rangers being a contender for the Cup next season, I feel like it would be a pretty decent idea to put one of their players on the cover of the next game. Next up, let's head down to Florida and not talk about the recent Stanley Cup champion team. Rather, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning and arguably the best player from last season in Nikita Kucherov. Now, before I even list off why I think Kucherov should be the cover athlete for this game, he would never be up for this. He clearly doesn't care about the individual awards or the accolades. He just wants to win championships, and if you're an organization, that's exactly what you want from your best player. But let's hypothetically say that he would agree to do this. I think Kucherov, to me, is one of the most underrated players in the game, and whether that's because his personality is polarizing if you're not a fan of Tampa Bay, or maybe you're just not paying attention enough because they're a smaller market, I think this guy is hilarious, and just what he's able to bring to the game on the ice, it speaks volumes to the kind of character that he is. To me, I think if EA was up for this and Kucherov agreed, a lot of fans would be happy to see him on the cover. I think he deserves a little bit more credit for what he did last season, putting up over 100 assists and placing himself in company with players like McDavid and of course Gretzky. It's just insane how underrated this guy has been, especially over the past couple of months. So I think he would be a great option to be a cover athlete for NHL 25. Next up, let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks, but I kind of have a 3-for-1 with this one. Basically, the way I see it, I think either Quinn Hughes should get the title, Quinn Hughes / Elias Pettersson, and then the Hughes brothers on their own. So first up, I think obviously Quinn Hughes deserves to get a lot of credit for his season last year, winning the Norris Trophy, becoming captain, and turning around that Vancouver Canucks team. It is insane the way that he just took control and really tried to help this organization get back on track. For the cover, I think it's just really fun when we come out with these new innovative ways to express the stars in our game. And I think a fun way to do that would be to include two of the superstars from Vancouver, both young, both up and coming, with Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. I think Pettersson also deserves a lot of credit for the amount of talent that he's brought to this organization. Just signed that new contract, so you know he's going to be there for a minute. But if you really don't like the idea of putting those two on the same cover because you don't think that it's going to look right or that the chemistry really fits, then I think you should absolutely go with the Hughes brothers. They've completely taken over the league, and I think people would really like the idea of having Quinn, Jack, and Luke all on the same cover. It would also allow you to put up some different covers for the editions of the game, with the deluxe maybe being Jack, and then maybe the legendary one being Quinn, or whatever way you want to go about it. I like this idea. I don't know how fans feel about it, but if I had to pick one player from the Vancouver Canucks that I think deserves the title, it would be Quinn Hughes. But for me, I personally would love to see Hughes and Pettersson on the cover of NHL 25. Next, let's head over to Minnesota and pick their best superstar in Kirill Kaprizov. Now, I think this one goes a little bit more underrated. I don't think Kirill Kaprizov has stood out as much this past season or two than he did when he first came into the league, but I still think that he's one of the most marketable guys in the game. He's a natural goal scorer. He's playing in that big market over with Minnesota, and honestly, I just feel like this organization deserves a little bit of a bump when we're talking about just some publicity or just maybe some marketing as well. I think NHL fans really love Kirill Kaprizov, and we're all kind of itching for some different covers every year, some new superstars, not repeating with the same top 10 guys. And I think sometimes going outside of the box and picking a player from Minnesota would be really entertaining for a lot of fans. Now, similar to Panarin, I'm not sure how many fans are actually excited about Kirill Kaprizov. I feel like he's definitely more of a hardcore fan favorite than he is like a casual person. At least that's been my experience whenever I talk to any hockey fan. They're not exactly well versed on Kirill as a person who's a little bit more interested in the sport. But if you're trying to bring some more marketability to some other players on some different styled teams, I think Kirill would be the perfect route to go. So I think he should definitely be considered for the cover this year. And last but not least, let's give some credit to the recent Stanley Cup champions in the Florida Panthers. And this is sort of like the Vancouver one. I think you could pick multiple options for this cover, whether it's Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, or just both of them on the cover. Heck, you could even probably go with both of the Tkachuk brothers on the cover if you wanted to. I think fans would really be into that with a Brady and Matthew cover. But if you had to pick one guy to put on the cover, though, I think Matthew Tkachuk is the clear and obvious choice. He has that ratty nature to him, a strong personality off the ice. He knows how to make plays. He's incredibly talented, has some awesome goal scoring capabilities. And I think when we're talking about, like I said earlier, marketable players and players that fans just gravitate towards, I think Matthew Tkachuk is definitely one of them. If I had to pick one of these covers, I would definitely say that I would like the Tkachuk brothers as the big time title. But if we had to go with one player from Florida, I think that Matthew would be the better choice over Barkov, just because I feel like Barkov is more a hardcore hockey fan's favorite player, just for all of the small stuff he does and the defensive play that he has. I think a lot of casual fans, like I was talking about with Kirill, just gravitate more towards that flashy player like Tkachuk. So if we're going to pick someone from Florida, I think Matthew Tkachuk. If we're going to do a duo, I absolutely think that the Tkachuk brothers would be a great choice for this upcoming game cover. And let me know what you guys think. These are just a few cover ideas that I thought of. I think these would be the best choices when we're talking about new and innovative designs for NHL 25, rather than just rinsing and repeating with the same players and teams. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.